Chapter 1, Lesson 2, Ratios. Our content language target. Students will understand that a ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. Our language target today, students will demonstrate their understanding by creating a ratio to compare two things and writing the ratio in simplest form. So when we talk about writing a ratio in simplest form, there are many different ways to compare amounts or quantities. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. A ratio of 2 red paper clips to 6 blue paper clips can be written in 3 ways. 2 to 6 using the word 2, writing it with the 2 dots in between. Again, that's a comparison, and also writing it as a fraction part. We also want to make sure that we put these in simplest form. So we know that 2 and 6 have a common factor of 2. So if I divide each of those by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So what they're saying here is that for every 1 red paper clip, there are 3 blue paper clips. So we look at the got it problem. Letter A, write a ratio in simplest form that compares the number of suns to the number of moons. Then explain its meaning. So we want to look for the number of suns. So if there's suns, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So whatever that first one is first, that's the one that you have to use. Now, whichever ratio you'd like to use, that's fine too. I like the dots myself. And we're going to compare that to the number of moons. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moons. So now I need to put that in simplest form. Is there a common factor that goes into both 2, 4, 6? So if I use my numbers that we did last chapter of 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11, 2 goes into all even numbers. Well, both 4 and 6 are even. So if I divide each of those by 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the ratio is for every 2 suns, there are 3 moons. So when you explain that meaning, it's simply saying for every 2 moons, sorry, go back, erase that. For every 2 suns, there are 3 moons. So this is your sentence frame. So for every is always there. There are. This part in the middle is what we have to change each time. And at the end, we want to know what 2 things we're comparing. If I look at example 2, it says several students name their favorite flavor of gum. Write the ratio that compares the number who chose fruit to the total number of students. Well, the number that chose fruit, here's fruit, that would be 3 because we're going to compare the number who chose fruit to the total number of students. So 3 students chose fruit. Well, how do I find the total number of students? Well, here's the number of responses. So I do believe I would have to add all of these numbers together. So 9 and 8 is 17, plus 3 is 20, plus 1 is 21 students. So our ratio would be 3 to choose fruit to 21. Now again, we have to put that in simplest form. So I'm looking at using my numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. Well, 3 is a factor of 3. Does 3 go into 21 evenly? Yes. So I divide each by 3 to get my new ratio. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 21 divided by 3 is 7. So what this means is for every 1 student who chose fruit, there were 7 students. Example number 3, it says Monday's yogurt sales are recorded in the table. Write the ratio that compares the sales of strawberry yogurt to the total sales. Then explain its meaning. So when I'm looking at strawberry yogurt. So here's strawberry, that's 8. I'm going to compare that to the total sales. So here's the number sold. So how many were sold altogether? Well, there's 3, 6 is 9, 9 and 7 is 16, 8 more is 24. So I have 8 to 24. Now I have to put that in simplest form. So again, if I think about my numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11, I know that 2 is a factor because both of them are even. So if I divide each by 2, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Well, I know that 4 is a factor of 12 because 4 times 3 is 12. So I can divide each by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So for what that means is that for every 3 sold, 1 is strawberry. There it is. For every 3 sold, 1 is strawberry. So got it problem. Letter B. A pet store sold the animals listed in the table in 1 week. Write the ratio of cats to pets sold that week. So then explain its meaning. So here's our cats. There were 8 cats. To find the total, there's 8 and 14 is 22, plus 10 is 32. So we have 8 to 32. So we got to write that in simplest form. So I know again that 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11, both numbers are even, so 2 is a factor of both. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 32 divided by 2 is 16. And I know my doubles, so I know 4 times 4 is 16. So if I divide each by 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So what is the meaning then? Well, for every 4 pets sold, 1 was a cat. So see, there's our ratio. 1 cat for every 4 pets. So the last one today is our it's a word problem. Number 4 says that Kate wants to divide her 30 flowers into 2 groups so that the ratio is 2 to 3. Here we're going to use a barn model. So I look at my ratio as 2 to 3, which means that she has 2 groups over here of roses, and over here she has 3 groups of lilies. She has 30 total flowers. We want to know how many are in each group. So how many total groups do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I take my 30 total flowers and I divide that by 5 groups, 30 divided by 5, I know that's 6. So there are 6 flowers in each group. So this gave a ratio of 2 to 3. There are 12 roses for every 18 lilies.